bloodsuckers.
As you walk through the valley of the shadow of hell,
Join us!
you will realize that there is something ahead. Something that lurks behind the dark veil.
We have such sights to show you.
A veil that is beyond our own comprehension.
I'm just gonna bash your brains.
Beyond the void.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to fucking Beyond the Void
Horror Podcast.
That's right, it's episode 193, and we're gonna fucking set this bitch off with two fucking New York horror films from the 80s, right? Am I right?
Right.
All
High
right.
five.
Just kidding, guys. I'm sorry. Everybody's like, he's annoying.
That's what my head was saying.
No, that's what someone said on my YouTube video. I was like, thank you. Little heart. But yeah, guys, today we're going to have a great episode. We got some 80s movies that we're going to be breaking down and doing some trivia on. One of them is called Spookies from 1986-ish. It's 85, 86. It's a little weird, right?
Right. Yeah, 86, whatever.
I've seen both. That's why I get confused. I'm just like, what?
Uh-huh.
And then we're also going to be talking about
Flesh-Eating Mothers from 1988.
That's right. 88 is a big year for a lot of stuff. Not just horror movies, but also like music.
What? Like what?
Just in the 80s, like in 1988, a lot of shit just went down. I mean, I can't name everything. Like, well, go ahead, say it off.
Prince? Like
No, I mean like hip hop and like just like music in general. All kinds of stuff. Anyway, but yeah, guys, we're gonna be talking about those movies. How you doing over there, fucking sunshine?
I'm sunshine.
Yeah, you're gonna have to fucking forgive me because I can't help talking like this when I fucking talk about New York.
I'm just holding my breath.
It's funny, I know a lot of people from New York, and there's only a few that really talk like that anymore. But you know, my buddy Devin, you know, he comes on.
Oh, it slips out.
Yeah, if he goes back to fucking Long Island for a little bit, he fucking starts talking like this. But when he comes back, he's like, "Hello, everyone." After a little while, my name is Devin. I'm a guy, a regular guy. Just kidding, Devin. I love you. He probably doesn't even listen anyway.
I know, I was gonna say he doesn't listen.
None of my fucking friends listen, you fucking bastards. Anyway, so we got a really good show for you. Seriously, how you been? What's going on?
Oh, I'm fine.
Anything you want to share with the class?
Not really. I'm bored.
Really?
Still in quarantine.
Yeah, we're being good.
Yep.
It's
we're number one.
We're number one alone together.
Number one COVIDs. So.
Oh, Arizona, you're talking about.
Arizona.
Well, we're the fastest rising, so that's, you know, since we're the lowest in education in the country, like at least we're rising in something, huh? Stupidity. Anyway, I hope you guys are being safe out there during this whole thing. I know there's like a bunch of fucking mixed opinions on everything, but I think this is one we should listen to.
Right.
Just my 2 fucking cents.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't care. The virus doesn't care what political affiliation you are. It's just gonna fucking kill you. Don't be a fucking idiot.
It's just gonna get you.
Gonna get you.
You got a 50-50 chance if it's gonna kill you.
And we've been hearing all this crazy shit about fucking Tom Hanks and like him fucking having a pedo ring and shit. Like, what the
really?
fuck?
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of crazy stuff going on. I think we have doomed ourselves with the internet. Literally.
Right.
I think the internet is going to be the end all be all. I always think of that movie that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost did. The End of the World or whatever it was called. It was called, it was like the bar at the end of the world or something.
Was it the one when they went bar hopping?
Yes.
And then the aliens
come in. But at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, they're like, well, we'll just take our technology back with us. And they're like, what do we do? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we should just start a fire and be bored. God. Anyway, guys, I don't want to get too political. I'm just spitballing here with you. Just rubbing your fucking nuts.
What's going on?
Your nuts, whatever the fuck that is.
Did you say nuts or nuts?
I don't know. I'm just fucking riffing here, baby. Anyway, I'm drinking some fucking Smith & Forge hard cider. I'm not going to be doing the shots today, but we're going to tell you all about it. And then you guys are going to tune into our social media to check us take the shot. That's what we're trying to do. It's kind of like it's a ploy to get you to our social media.
Is it a ploy?
Not really.
We just didn't want to do the shot today.
No, we didn't have the ingredients technically, but
right.
yeah.
Well, and I don't want to be.
But you should be following us on our social media. What the fuck? That's so much to ask. Plus, I've been fucking pumping out fucking reviews from all these new movies and shit.
You've been doing a good job.
I've been trying to do fucking a lot of work for you folks out there. Keep you entertained, keep the virus away. Maybe make you a little happy. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah,
the accent. I don't know if I'm gonna survive this episode.
that character that I'm doing right now, guys, is a character that I started on my Twitch stream, and I put on a fucking cloud mask, and his name is Bucko. and man, Bucko, he just takes over sometimes. It's kind of hard not to be, I don't know. You just say some wild shit. Anyway, I think it might be that time.
What time is it?
HORRORSHOTS! All right, guys. So this shot that we are going to be doing this week is called an adios motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
No, there's no R.
Motherfucker.
Mudder. Talking about my mudder.
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
Like that?
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
Anyways, let me say it for them so they'll figure it out, all right? It's called an adios motherfucker because these are two films from New York, and the movie that we're going to be fucking pulling from is flesh-eating mothers. Mothers. Yeah, so it's not an adios motherfucker. It's an adios motherfucker. Get it? Got it. Good. All right, so what is in an adios motherfucker?
What is in an adios motherfucker?
Vodka? There's all equal parts of this, by the way. It's vodka, rum, gin, tequila. And the thing that gives it the BTV and the motherfucker is we're going to be using, if you can, amaretto liqueur. So that is going to be your adios motherfucker. So yeah, we got to get the ingredients still. We were like scrambling to come up with something, and I think that's a good idea because in the movie, the flesh-eating mothers, some fucking guy goes around fucking people, causing some sort of infection that makes the mothers fucking eat people, their children, everyone. It's a wild game.
It's a wild.
Anyway, but if you would like to try an adios motherfucker, all you have to do is go to longlivethevoid.com and check out our hashtag HorrorShots section now. That's it for HorrorShots. All right, guys. So now we're going to go ahead and jump into our flesh and potatoes of Spookies from 1985 or 86 and
Flesh-Eating Mothers from 1988.
Right now.
All right, so Christina's going to kick it off with all the information and deets about who made this movie, who's in it, and maybe how much. We'll see. She always asks me, but we'll find out.
Maybe. Maybe.
Go ahead.
I did some math.
All right.
Spookies is about a sorcerer tries to sacrifice a group of people inside his house with the intention of using their virality to keep his wife alive.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's weird. Felt like 70 different movies.
It totally did. I didn't even realize it was a sorcerer.
Yeah, it was also originally called
Twisted Souls.
Oh, that was nice.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah, it was funny. The tagline is the ultimate in fright and fun.
Yes.
Yay.
Pretty interesting story on that. We'll get into in the trivia.
There's 3 directors on this film. Jeannie Joseph, He also did a film called Mind Benders from 1987.
It reminds me of Bender.
I know that's why I said
my
Mind
bandmate.
Benders.
Yeah. His name is Bender. He went by Mind Bender, the DJ.
Also, another director who was also a writer is Thomas Doran. He also did a documentary called Mother of Mercy. Is this the end of Doublespeak? I don't know what the fuck that's about, but
yeah,
that's the only thing he did.
Should be the end of long titled movie names.
Right. And also writer-director Brendan Faulkner, who also did a film called Killer Dead from 1992.
Yeah, which I really want to see. I think I've seen it before. I remember talking about it. It's like really low budget.
Oh, makes sense.
It's almost like a, what do you call it? Not a found footage, Jesus Christ. A shot on video film.
Mm-hmm. Another writer who is credited on this film is Frank Farrell, who was a producer and actor in the film Street Trash, one of your favorite movies, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And there's also a writing credit for Anne Bergen, who was also a producer on The Mask.
Okay.
Starring Felix Ward, who plays Creon. This was his only movie.
That's the old man, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maria Pachucas, who plays Isabel, the lady in white. She was also in a horror movie called Camilla from 1998.
The one we kept calling Winona Ryder.
Yes.
Because she did look like it with her eyes closed.
She did in this certain lighting.
Yeah, like a young one, yeah.
Dan Scott, who plays Creon's servant, was in a movie called The High Chaparral from 1967. Alec Nemser, who plays Billy. This was his first movie, but he was also in a movie called Raising Helen, which I think I've seen, but I don't know, whatever. And he was in Valentine's Day from 2010, and One Day Like Rain from 2007. Peter Asillo Jr., who plays Rich, he was in Street Trash. He was also in Day of the Dead, and he was in he played a shit ton of homeless people on various different TV shows like Gotham, The Characters, Law and Order, and 30 Rock. Budget for this movie, I'm guessing, was $500,000.
I don't know. It was a little confusing. So
do you think it was more than that? Or?
I don't know.
Oh,
it's hard to say. But if you think it is 500,000, then maybe it is.
But IMDb said this movie only grossed 17,000.
Yeah. Well, it probably didn't get any distribution.
Right.
There was a lot of these smaller stuff, like Spookies is a bigger movie ultimately than the next movie we're going to talk about. So they had issues with distribution, which we'll talk about. But
right. So what did you think of this film?
It's pure trash. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
okay, it's fucking garbage.
We're done.
No.
Bye.
There's my opinion. No, I'm kidding. No, I really actually like this. It's been a while, and I think we did actually do this on the podcast, but we never did the treatment, like I always say. So it's kind of like we're redoing some of these, but it's been like 3.5 years since we did it, so. But this is a pretty fun movie, for fans of 80s monsters and more. There's a lot of fucking creature effects, and honestly, that's something I admire about it, because it throws every type of monster it can at the screen, even if it makes the story and the plot fucking completely jumbled and not make 100% sense. I'm okay with that. It's low on gore, high on creatures, silly on jokes, and wacky on characters. There's a guy with a fucking puppet. It's just weird.
And he had a shirt on with him and the puppet.
Yeah, which is a meta thing, right?
Right.
But this movie just throws everything at you. Lots of different characters that stumble on a house in the middle of nowhere and get dispatched in goofy ways by insanely silly looking but awesome creatures. Although, it's up in the air whether or not you like them all, but I think some of them I wish would have had more screen time. You know what I mean? But they were just kind of sprinkled in there.
Right.
At least they were like, we got to have a lot of stuff in here. And I got more on that later. But the premise seems pretty typical, but there is a subplot going on behind the scenes, which Christina mentioned about the old man awakening his queen in this mansion. He's like some sort of sorcerer and he wants to be with her. So that's in there. But why it's in there, it's not a real big reason. I think it's just because I don't know.
It's weird.
It's actually kind of patchy and really splotchy. with a lot of the scenes. A lot of filler scenes with like this like werewolf kid in a monkey suit that's just fucking wandering the hallways a lot of times, which is just probably to stretch the movie out, you know? I will say, while I enjoyed this one for the obvious reasons of the creatures and stuff, it sort of dies down quite a bit by the end, probably because we've seen so much in the way of creatures that we kind of become desensitized, or the creatures that cover the terribly plain plot. You know, it doesn't have a lot going for it, but I still really like it. It feels like it's barely there, the plot.
Right.
As these people kind of comb the hallways of a mansion and get picked off. The death scenes feel like kind of just added on, but I still look forward to them. They're not terrible or anything. They're just fun. I think it's a fun creature feature flick that is probably tame enough for some kids to watch even.
Because there's no gore.
Yeah, there's no real blood or gore. I mean, there is a little bit, but not a lot. And it is rated R, but they were shooting for a PG when they first started it up. But I think the people that worked on it were like fighting with the producer on that. So I think some of the creatures kind of remind me of Goosebumps in a lot of ways, or like Are You Afraid of the Dark, in that sort of schlocky fun way, you know? The tone is definitely kind of like it in some regards. That sort of self-aware kind of humor that's a little too much. You know, you can tell that they had a lot of fun making it. Like, you can definitely tell. I'd say it's a solid 7.5, so bad it's good, although it does die down pretty quickly by the end. It's still silly and fun and creative as fuck. So if you like silly horror movies with oodles of creatures that doesn't give a fuck about what you think and doesn't really care about the plot so much, and you just want to see creatures and stuff like that, this will be a great movie for you. Otherwise, you'll probably think it's like a 4 or 5.
Right.
But for me, 7.5, baby. What about you?
This movie really made me want a cigarette and,
Why?
and a puppet. A cigarette and a puppet.
Oh,
there were
okay.
so many people smoking in this movie. I'm like not used to it. Even the other movies in the past we watched, I don't feel like they smoked it. Like every scene there was somebody smoking. I was like, Jesus Christ, I want a cigarette. And I don't even smoke
That
anymore.
always kills me. You know?
Yeah. It made me want to go through a haunted house because the location and the effects and the props, they were really good.
Yeah.
Like it really, as for storyline, like you said, it was kind of typical. It was like all over the place. I didn't understand the beginning with the kid. I don't understand why that was in there.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was cool. I liked him in it. I thought I added a little bit. The whole story is just so fucking weird because how do these fucking people even get together? They look such the motley crew. Like there is not, and does not look like these people would be hanging out with one another.
The two groups of the couples where they were in two separate cars and there was the older man.
Right.
And then following the punk ass kid, I was like, why are you guys hanging out? Like, I'm not trying to be judgmental, but it just didn't fit.
Well, one of the producer saw Evil Dead and wanted to have that. So that intro scene where they're all driving, I think is kind of a like, hey, let's kind of imitate Evil Dead in some way.
Oh, you could totally see it in the creature effects and stuff.
Sure.
And like when they went into the house. Like,
well, maybe for Evil Dead 2. Well, yeah, I don't know. But Evil Dead was a little different than part 2, which had a lot more.
Well, I don't know, but it still had aspects of Evil Dead in
Gotcha.
it. So you could totally tell
Well, they wanted to be that way somewhat, like a haunted house movie, so.
Right. Well, it worked. But it's funny, too, because another thing that bothered me was the sorcerer, like, wanting to get that chick back alive, even though she was already alive.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And yet he kept pushing. It's like, why do you want to be with somebody who doesn't want to be with you? Like, why are you... I know. I'm like...
She can't even die. She tried to die. Anyway, don't spoil too much.
I'm not going to spoil too much. But
I mean, there's really not that much plot. You just gave away everything, really.
It's okay. I'm sure people will survive.
Right. You're not watching it for the story anyway. So.
Right. But yes, I wanted more gore. It would have been nice if the death scenes were, a little bit more
gore,
deathy.
Yeah. It's still cool, though.
Yeah, it was cool.
You don't really get to see that many creatures in a film. You know what I mean? Which is awesome.
Right. But I gave it a 6 out of 10.
Really?
Yeah, it was okay.
Okay.
We had fun. It was fun.
I like it. I don't know. I think I like it more now than I did before.
Mm-hmm. Oh, then when you...
Yeah, but my tastes have changed a little bit over the past 4 years.
Right, they have.
I've been a little bit more open and just like enjoying it as we go and explore new movies. It's funny too, because I noticed that we buy a lot of movies that aren't the mainstays. Like I don't buy like the main stuff all the time.
No,
like I do. Like I have box sets for Nightmare on Elm Street, like House
But
like
everything
Amityville.
else, we only buy it when it's on sale because
It's true.
It's gonna go on sale at a reasonable price to buy
Not always, but I'm just saying, like, I end up buying movies that I've never seen before or just odd gems that are obscure lately more than I do the big ones. And this week we decided to buy ones that are big ones instead of the other way around. So kind of balances it out.
Yeah, it just depends on what's going on.
So you gave it a 6, I get a 7.5, so we'll say
6.875
or whatever.
5.
Sounds about right, whatever. But yeah, so it's close to a 7. If you guys are into this S-Big kind of movies, which, by the way, shout out to Sarah. She was one of the first people to call it S-Big.
Oh, I noticed that.
I was
funny.
like, oh, that's so great. Thank you, Sarah.
Somebody listens.
I'm alive. I exist. Anyway, so we do have some fucking trivia, though. It's pretty good.
Uh-oh.
It's pretty good.
Let me know.
If you don't want anything spoiled, now just give you guys a heads up. I try to look around in the internets, try to find some things, some places for you to watch this movie, and it looks like you can watch it.
Oh.
Or you can pick it up from Vinegar Syndrome. I won't say how you can watch it, though, online, because I just feel bad about that. And you should support the companies that are keeping these movies alive. But you should support the movies that are keeping, or the places that are keeping these movies alive. God damn it! Support the companies that are keeping these movies alive. Like Vinegar Syndrome, which is kind of like a restoration kind of project in a way. And a lot of the stuff that they do, they kind of restore movies that honestly would probably still be in VHS if it wasn't for them.
Uh-huh.
So, on to trivia. If you don't want anything spoiled, here is your warning. So, the people that all worked on this went to school together, a lot of them. Like, whether it be when they were in elementary school or met in high school or met in college, they all kind of met together.
Oh, like film school?
Yeah. And also Roy Frumkiss of Street Trash fame taught some of them about filmmaking. Because it was New York, they did Street Trash, which was ultimately very successful. And yeah, I thought that was really interesting. You know, New York must have had a really big boom out there in the 80s for horror films and stuff. You notice, you know, there's a lot. Now, this movie was going to be an anthology in some regards, or there was some talk about it. Mike Lee, the producer of this movie, was working on a movie in the UK called The Anger, and he wanted these guys to help, all the directors and all the people that did special effects and stuff. And it wasn't going real well on that movie, The Anger. So the guys that worked on Spookies, who were trying to make, well, they weren't trying to make Spookies, they were trying to make this other movie called Igor and the Lunatics. And they didn't like the Anger project. They got to see some of the early film stuff, and they're like, eesh. They're like, how about you help us with our movie first, and then we'll help you do yours after. And they were like, Mike was like, nah, not gonna happen. But he hit him up later, and he was like, yo, so I want to sit down and talk with you guys if I can. And they sat down, and he talked, and he said, well, I don't want to do the movie you want to do. I want to do a movie that we can do. Something with a lot of stuff in it to make it sell. Because he was thinking about trying to sell it in the UK more than he was in the world. And they wanted to push for something that would be more worldwide appeal. And they wanted gore and all this other stuff, but he wanted like a PG movie that would sell well in the UK because at the time we were getting a lot of the video nasties that were getting burned a lot. And people were taking them down for no reason, just based on their cover. They didn't know anything about the films.
Right.
Some movies weren't even that fucking bad, and they were just taking them down because the cover was so terrible. But eventually they worked out what they were going to do and settled on a haunted house picture. But Mike Lee wanted to call this one, wait for it, Bowel Eruptor.
That's
stupid.
Yeah, that's really stupid. That sounds like a freaking medication or something.
They all thought he was fucking joking around too. They're like, yeah, that's a really funny, you're stupid, right? But he said he later wanted to make something along the lines of Evil Dead, which was at odds with the PG rating because that's a lot of gore in that. Doesn't make any sense. So they were like really confused on making this work. But they eventually did, and they came up with a bunch of different creatures that they had all these different artists and everything designed, including Gabe Bartalos, who is also a director and has worked on a lot of special effects. He wasn't even the lead special effects guy until one of the guys didn't do a good job on one of the farting zombies, and then he took over and started doing a lot of stuff. Do you remember the voluptuous lady in the movie?
Yes.
Duke's girlfriend or whatever.
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah, with the big breasts.
Curly hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, apparently there was like a running joke. Like she was just having a blast on set. And she was just all about like laughing it up and stuff. That I guess they all had this camaraderie in this joke where they called both of her breasts different names, Huey and Louie. I know.
Those are nice names for boobs.
Ducks? Isn't that the fucking...
Oh, yeah, that's DuckTales. Woo.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if DuckTales was out back then, was it?
I don't remember. Oh, whatever.
I don't know. Maybe it is. But also the actor who played Duke, her boyfriend or whatever, he said that he's the exact opposite of that character. So he was not this like fucking, Italian fucking New York meathead like he was in the movie. Oh, really? He's like a really nice guy.
Of course.
The actor Peter, who you kind of talked about, who did the puppet. Uh-huh. He was like he was an old school friend of everybody that worked on the film, apparently. Oh. He apparently passed away in 2017. Oh. So, but a lot of people really loved him. And a lot of the riffing that you saw in the movie is just him.
I kind of figured, you could tell.
Duke even said, the guy who played Duke was like, I fucking hated that puppet. I really did. So when you see that in the fucking film, he's like, I'm really not happy with the puppet, but...
Did they say why they put the puppet in there?
I don't know, just to be weird.
Do that appeal that PG?
They had a different name for it, but they ended up with Mookie for some reason. I don't know why. As I mentioned, Gabe Bartalos worked on the effects in this. He's the guy that worked on movies like Darkman, Godzilla, The Cave, Blade. Plus, he's also directed the movies St. Bernard and Skin Deep, which we own St. Bernard. Oh, yeah. Didn't you watch that with me?
I don't remember.
Yeah, which we own it. But yeah, it's a weird movie. It's got a girl. There's this really weird scene where this girl's legs get run over. And it's like pretty awesome. The Ouija board in the movie was made, so there's not one like it.
That was a really cool Ouija board. Like, I don't like Ouija boards, but the art on that board was, so it's nice that it was like original.
They did it because of copyright. They didn't want to fucking Hasbro bullshit, right. Whatever it was at the time. But it was supposed to have, like if you saw on the board, there's like pictures of like creatures and stuff on it. Right. Those are like placeholders for when these creatures would be released, because technically the board was supposed to unleash all of these different creatures, and every time they used it, the Ouija board. And they were supposed to have all this light and everything come shooting up out of the board to like simulate the fact that they were unlocking these creatures.
Oh, interesting. Like
right.
Jumanji or
kind of, yeah.
Is, yeah.
But yeah, like the original Jumanji, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The house that they shot in was called the John Jay Estate in Rye, New York. And John Jay is actually one of the founding fathers of America.
Oh, really?
It was really run down too at the time, which they've since built back up.
So he was one of the original founders of America?
Yeah, that's what it said in the wiki. So I was just kind of like searching to see what the name of the building was or whatever. But they talk about it in some of the extras in the Vinegar Syndrome release. So, but some people actually felt like that place was haunted. Like a lot of people. Gabe and one of the directors. A lot of people did, except for one of the ladies. She was like, didn't see anything. I don't know.
Is that place? Did you say, is that place still there? Like,
yeah, no, it's built back up. They've like restored it. They've tried to keep it like it's part of like a national thing now. I wonder
if any ghost hunters have done film there.
I don't know, but they did say Gabe Bartalos said that he saw an old lady in the window when nobody was in the house. And also one of the workers saw imprints of circles and triangles on the grass for some odd reason, like deep into the property.
Weird.
And a neighbor apparently approached them and said, have you seen any visitors lately? And he was like, no visitors. Why? What do you mean? She said, from up there, pointing to the sky.
Go see, that shit's haunted.
Well, I don't know about haunted, but, he was like, oh, she looks so sane. That's what he said. I was like, wow, that's fucking harsh, dude. Apparently, there's lights that have shown up going up into the sky and down in that area.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Oh, UFOs too? So there's ghosts and aliens?
Yeah,
Holy shit.
makes sense. That's why they made this movie there. They unleashed
They unleashed the beast.
the beasts of netherworlds. They also, apparently, one of the directors said that they had a coven of witches or some like earthy type people who wanted to come in and bless the place before they filmed, which he thought that was really weird. And he said, well, yeah, you can go up for a bit, but not for long. Like you got to go in and come back out. And he said, he told the assistant to go get them because it had been a little bit of time and tell them to leave. And they were already gone. Wow. And he said he didn't see them arrive really. How they got there was no car and he didn't see them leave. So they were
were they really there?
Yeah, I know. It was part of the curse of the Spookies. Anyway, there was a really funny story that they did tell. I'm not going to tell everything that was in the extras, by the way. Vinegar Syndrome, highly recommend you get it. They have 2 discs worth of special features on this movie. Totally worth it. I don't even think they have a DVD copy in there, so you can't even like watch it. I think you have to watch it in 1080p. I might be wrong. It might be on the extras disc, and I just didn't realize it. But there's like extras on the regular disc and then extras on a special features disc as well. So there's 2, yeah. A lot of extras. But Gabe Bartalos was working on Day of the Dead during that filming of this a little bit. And one of the directors was like helping them make body molds. And so they were making body molds and setting them out in the fucking driveway or whatever in the grass. And they looked real. And apparently while they were shooting, a woman was screaming somewhere. And the director came back. He's like, hey, I'm doing a scene. You shouldn't be doing practice right now like I'm shooting. And he was like, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. And they went outside and this woman was taking pictures of all the fake dead bodies, like screaming. So like, click, 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 click. And when they came outside, like 3 of them, to see what the fuck was going on, she screamed and took pictures of them and then got in her car and drove off.
Oh my gosh, I wonder if she still has the pictures.
Oh my God, I know, right?
Like passed down through the family or something. There was this incident, you know what I mean? Like
I just picture the woman scream so like,
yeah.
Kind of like comedic, you know what I mean? Like that's so funny to me. Like that she was so scared, but she decided to take pictures anyway.
She had to get the evidence. That's why those were the killers.
I'm sure that they were like, oh, they're working on a movie up there or something like that, and then she was just too embarrassed to go back. Right. You know, that's funny though.
That is a funny story.
But there's a lot more extras on the Vinegar Syndrome. I don't want to spoil all of it. I've been trying not to. Just stuff that I think is interesting about the movie. So we're going to talk about some of our scenes here and just kind of like go through the movie. There's a lot of stuff in this movie, guys.
Yeah, it goes all over the place, like fast.
We'll try to skip over some of the more boring stuff and just kind of talk to you about stuff that we like. But the whole movie opens up with a grave moving, like undulating, and it's like plastic or rubber.
Yeah.
Like a grave that's supposed to be concrete is moving like rubber.
Right. It was obviously like, haunted house.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's got chains on it and a guy talking about resurrecting somebody in a fucking like Playboy style fucking fire with the like chair, and a piano or something like that. And then there's this like kid who's like opening his cocaine out at night by a tree in the middle of the forest. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's
he was like
what 8
he was like 13, he said in the movie. I mean, it's actually a pack of snowballs, but he takes a fucking...
Oh, yeah. It was snowballs.
Yeah.
Like the white snowballs.
He took out a switchblade to open up his snowballs. Who does that? And was that a joke that they were like trying to make because it looked like cocaine and somebody said that?
I don't know.
And they were like, here, use this, kid. Use the switchblade.
But what's weird is didn't he run in and then he ran into a guy in the middle of nowhere.
I was wondering what the fuck he was doing out there anyway.
Yeah, where the fuck did this guy come from?
There is no 13-year-old kid that you will ever find anywhere that will like wander out in the middle of a forest by himself in the dark,
right,
to just eat snowballs.
Right. Wasn't he exploring or something because it was his birthday?
Yeah, it was his
He's like,
birthday,
"It's
but I
my
don't give a
birthday."
shit. I don't care if it's his birthday. I don't care if it's his fucking quinceañera. Like, well, they know how he wouldn't have a quinceañera, but yeah, some stranger asks him for a light and steals his lighter. It's not like made a point of, but he's like, here, kid, why don't you help a stranger light his cigarette? I'm like, stranger danger. Stay away from that motherfucker.
That was that era too, was stranger danger.
But yeah, but the werewolf boy comes around and
and then kills
that guy. Yeah.
It's like, when he killed him, he just like scratched him.
Why would that kid have a lighter too? I guess for like fireworks and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you get into trouble.
Exactly.
That's when the old guy in the mansion opens up the casket to unveil his bride.
Winona Ryder.
Yeah, it's totally Winona. That's what I kept saying the whole fucking movie. So we're going to be calling the bride Winona Ryder quite a bit. So if that makes sense, you'll understand.
And it's like that was her brief appearance, and then she was like in the end. And that was...
Well, no, they showed her throughout the whole thing. It was filler stuff.
Yeah.
Because they kept coming back to him and him talking to her. Oh, my beautiful bride, I will make you the most special person. You will be the love of my life.
No, I don't
like
want to
20 times.
I don't want to have anything to do with you. Leave me alone. I'm going to try to hang myself.
And that's when all the adults and kids are driving down the road looking for a party or something with their friends. And all of a sudden, like, this dude in the back seat pulls out a fucking puppet. Oh, hello, how you doing? Like, oh my God, no, don't do that. Was there a time that puppets were really cool like that you would just add them in the movie?
Muppets, I mean, this was like the Muppet era.
Yeah, but I don't know. It seems a little weird. It
was weird.
Anybody that pulls out a puppet, no offense to anybody, like, you're a
a
little weird, you know? Like,
a ventriloquist.
I don't trust people with puppets.
Right.
This motherfucker pulling out a puppet and shit, you know, like in the back seat.
It reminded me of that guy I dated with the dolls.
Oh.
That's all I'll say.
I don't know. It's not just that he had dolls. There's more to it.
Yeah,
but
anyway.
we'll be polite. Yeah, but fuck people with puppets. No, I'm kidding. I really don't care. I just think it's weird. Then a branch falls out in front of the car and Duke flips out about it. Like, goddamn branch!
Like, yeah, that was funny.
It's like, if it wasn't for that pesky werewolf boy in a monkey suit who dragged it out there, Jesus, Duke wouldn't be so lifted and fucking angry. Like, he was really angry and kicks the tree like, stupid branch!
Yeah.
Goddamn branch! Like,
made
calm
me stop
down.
my car.
Yeah, like, you need to chill out, dude. You're gonna have a heart attack in the next year. But that little cocaine kid enters the mansion by himself in the dark.
Cocaine kid.
Like, the balls on this kid just walking into some fucking mansion.
Uh-huh.
Like, what the fuck? He finds a birthday party table set up with, like, dead non-helium balloons hanging from the ceiling and a cake and a doll with, like, presents for him. Like, I'd feel like I was walking into fucking, like, a witch's lair or some shit, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, is she gonna stuff me up and then fatten me up and then put me in the oven? Then I'm gonna have to push her dumbass in?
Didn't the assistant guy, I wrote down, I called him a vampire werewolf zombie, because that's what he looked like. He looked like all three combined.
I don't know. You talking about the werewolf monkey boy?
Yeah.
I just said it was a werewolf in a monkey suit, because that's what he was wearing.
Yeah, that's totally what he looked like.
But all the presents on the table, it's a little weird, right? Like, you wouldn't just be like, oh, hey, what's up? What are these? Are these for me? Oh, where's a surprise party for me?
Right.
But he opens up one of the presents, and it's a head. And it's like, happy birthday, Billy. Ha, 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 ha. And he, like, runs off. It's the old man, right?
Right.
The old man's head.
Right. And then that's when the thing chased him into a coffin.
The monkey boy werewolf?
Yeah.
Whatever he was. That's, and also the two carfuls of adults and kids go into the old mansion.
And then it pretty much turns into the couples, like, running through the house.
Yeah, they find, like, a medallion and a box. Like, there's this one part that was, like, pretty funny to me. Duke jiggles the handle of a door, and he's like, it's fucking locked! What the fuck? He's, like, all angry and shit. And it's like, jiggle, jiggle, jiggle. And then he smashes a fucking chair on the door.
to get it to open.
Like instantly, like he's like, it's fucking locked. Boosh! Like, I'm like, this guy has got some roid rage or something, dude, because
Right.
that's like going from like really angry, like really quickly. But they finally open it up and Duke's like, oh, it's just a fucking closet. And bam, a dead guy comes out with like a gigantic Ouija board.
Like this painting of a Ouija board.
Yeah. Everybody keeps calling it a Ouija board. It's a fucking Ouija board, all right? It said it's got an A, no E, all right? Fucking figure it out. It's not some fucking special word. It's called Ouija.
And then didn't they start fucking around with the Ouija board with Carol? And then Carol started turning into this.
Yeah, she
weird
uses
thing.
the planchette and it turns her into like a fucking weird, I don't know,
It was like
a demon, I guess.
I guess.
It attacks a few people and like knocks the puppet man out with the board. Good. You get that weird motherfucker out of here for it. I'm kidding. No, everybody loved him on set. I'm just being silly about people with puppets, okay? But they scatter running around stupidly screaming, and one falls, or rather poorly actedly trips on the ground, and a gravestone pops up, which was kind of cool. Like he's outside, he trips, falls, gravestone pops up out of the ground in front of his head, and then burns his name onto the stone and sucks him into the ground.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, like, hey, that was, at least it was free.
Yeah.
You know?
When did those dirt shit demon monsters...
Yeah, they call them the muckmen, but a lot of other people online call them farting dirt zombies.
Oh, yeah, because they kept farting.
Yeah, it's like Duke and that the his girlfriend or whatever go down in the basement, the wine cellar, and actually all these like creatures come popping up out of the ground, and they start bashing these fake giant barrels of wine, and it melts the muckmen because they're dirt and muck, I guess.
Yeah, it was weird.
It was silly. It was just really silly. Actually, she's the kind of the hero more than Duke was in that situation.
Right.
Remember? Because she was like always looking to be protected by Duke, even though she didn't like him and he was a dickhead.
Right.
Then there's this other scene where there's another couple where the guy and his girlfriend, she's kind of like this prude, rich, hoity-toity fucking snooty bitch. And he's like trying to like be with her, but she kind of like commands him to do everything. And they're in the bedroom having a really dumb argument. And then this weird green sort of merman, which they call a demon snake in the extras.
Dude, that was totally a merman.
Right, that's what I said.
A merman. Totally a merman.
Everybody's obsessed with merman now since fucking
Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, ever since that came out, they're obsessed with it because it was such a fucking iconic moment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
wonder if they got it from this movie because the death scene in Cabin in the Woods with the merman, it did remind me a lot of...
They look really different though.
Do they?
Yeah,
I didn't think so.
The creature effects on the merman in this movie versus Cabin is way different.
Well, they're different.
And he's
but
smaller too.
yeah, he was a lot smaller. But
Yeah.
it was a lot similar. Like the shape of it and everything. Anyway.
Did you know they had to raise up the floor by 2.5 feet so that they could puppet it because it was a puppet?
Oh, no. That makes sense.
Yeah, so they had like guys underneath with like, you know, so they could act with the puppet when she's getting attacked by the fucking thing and she slams the fucking dresser on it. And it's weird because when she slams a dresser on it, you see another shot with like no dresser on its head afterwards to show it. I would have thought that the hand hanging out the side and it bloody
Right.
would be enough.
Right.
But maybe they didn't want it to be dead. I don't know. Because it's...
Well, it didn't pop back up, so...
I don't know. That's when you find out that the Winona Ryder bride does not like him because she comes to life and she's like, what are you doing? Like, I don't want to be with you. And he's like, well, you don't have any choice. There was this really cool scene though where the merman woman who was fighting the merman and killed it, she leaves the room and this creature from like Lovecraft appears with like in this hall. They call it the hallway monster, but it was like this tentacle looking creature that you could see into its chest, and it was all like slimy and like pretty cool looking, and it kind of like wraps its tentacle around her neck and melts her fucking face off, which is totally like what do you call it? Claymation, you know?
Oh yeah, totally. Which was a good little breakup in the scenes.
I wanted to see more of that creature.
Right.
Like that's like one of the more disappointing shorter scenes. And that creature is so cool looking.
Mm-hmm. Is it expensive to do claymation, you think?
No.
Because I know it takes a long time. Is that all it is? Is because it just takes so long?
I don't think it's costly at all. It's just time consuming, yeah.
Right.
There is a part where like the Winona Ryder character runs away from the old man, and there's this like really funny old witch that's like screaming and floating and laughing. The funny part was, and I had to point this out to you, is that you could see the guy holding the puppet in the background with his mustache going, oh shit. He's like, I'm in the scene.
But it wasn't, and then they shot to another scene, they shot back to the puppet, and he was still there.
Right.
I was like, what the fuck?
Well, you have to remember that they didn't have widescreen back then,
Right.
so they weren't too worried about if he was in the shot or not because they could crop him out.
Right.
So
No, he was like right behind her.
technically, you're not supposed to be in the shot.
But-
when they
right.
shoot film, you still see it in widescreen in a way, but you can crop like.
Right. And, it wasn't a big deal, and honestly, I didn't notice it until you pointed it out.
It's just part of the charm of the movie.
Yeah, it really is. It was a cool puppet.
There was a really bad fight scene between Duke and the older guy, which goes on for way too long.
I started to get bored, honestly.
And it overlaps like other scenes that are going on. So this is like the most epically poor bad fight scene that you've ever seen. Like Richard the puppet guy gets lured into a spider den in during this fight scene. Mm-hmm. And he's like the funny guy, and he gets like stuck in a web, and this fucking woman transforms. It's like this really pretty Asian woman who changes into like a weird face creature. Then you see legs come up out of her side, and then her head gets bigger like a spider, and then she eventually kind of turns
into a spider.
Yeah.
It was cool. That was a cool scene.
And then its mouth shoots out an alien fucking sucker and sucks the dude dry. and the guy, the way he dies, he looks like an empty rubber vessel.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
You just see the air come out of him. Like, it's just funny.
Yeah.
I love that. That was really funny.
It was.
Apparently that guy, Peter, had a lot of fun with his fake self around on set and made jokes all throughout the whole fucking thing. Yeah.
Nice. I wonder if he got to keep it.
I don't know. I know that he didn't get to keep the puppet because he wanted the puppet. And one of the set people was like, who designed all that stuff, was like, I'm going to find it one day and then I'm going to give it to you. But she never did get to give it to him. Yeah. She said she loved him to death, though. Oh. So, I mean, if they stayed in touch all the way up until his death, that's pretty good for an 85 movie.
Yeah.
There's another scene where they fight the Reaper guy on the roof. He comes out of the closet.
Yeah.
And they throw him off the building and he just explodes.
Yeah, it's set on fire.
Like, what?
Yeah. It was weird.
Like, what is he made out of? Like flint and like
gasoline?
Yeah, or fucking like sodium nitrate? I don't fucking know. Because he was exploding like a fucking bag of dynamite. Then there was some other stuff where the old man apparently has a son with the bride, and she didn't know that she had a son, and like, how would she not know? Like, no, not that one. It was the kid.
Yeah, I know,
it was the little kid in the fucking
kid with the zombie makeup on.
Yeah, and the like really shitty. But yeah, there was another one where the Winona Ryder queen she stabs that man, the old man, in the head, in the forehead with an ice pick, which I think the ice pick broke because he's like holding one of the pieces. And I don't know if it was supposed to come off like that, but it looked like kind of funny. And she sees like this creature pop up behind her, and he's like, "Mama, mama, mama."
Yeah, you did a better job than me.
It's so fucking ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
I remember talking about that when we reviewed this movie last time, and I thought it was really funny. Nobody else did. Like,
really?
And it's, it's really weird is because like when I watched it back then, and like how clear this print is compared to like the VHS or the DVD rips that they had back in the day. I think it was only on VHS. God, you can see that creature so clearly now. It's crazy. Like, you can pretty much see all the flaws and all the creatures in the new thing, but you know, whatever.
Right.
So sometimes like the darkness and shadowing looks darker in the transfer of the prints that they were doing for VHS and stuff. I don't know why, it just did. So some people like to watch it on VHS because of that, because they don't want that clarity. They want to watch it how they remember it, or darker. Or...
That makes sense.
But there are some movies that had such dark intros or had such dark scenes that you couldn't see anything that was going on. A perfect example of that was like Burial Ground. When that came out on VHS and you could, or beta, whatever, it was so fucking dark you couldn't even see the beginning of the movie, where the guy goes down into this cave and like discovers where all these bodies in this tomb and all this other stuff are. You can't even see it. But in the DVD and the fucking Blu-ray, it's like you finally get to see it. So it does work negatively against it sometimes. But yeah, that lady, the Winona Ryder bride, she starts running, and she's like getting pawed at, and they're removing all her clothes by a bunch of zombies on the ground to some breakbeat music. I think it was breakbeat, I don't know. And she tries running, and then this goes on for a long time, like really like 10 minutes, guys. And she's just running in circles.
That was like the rest of the movie, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
She eventually does get to a car, and some guy's in, and he's like, "Hey lady, what are you doing in my car?" And she's like, "Help me." And he's like, "Move over." And they drive off. And she's like, "I'm finally free. I'm finally free." He's like, "But you're not free. Don't you know that you'll always be mine?" And then it turns into a wolf boy for some reason. Because
this is Thriller.
Yeah. And then the old man pops out of the grave that's been undulating on the ground for the whole movie. And then, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's like, that's where you see the cover, technically, the original cover is him, like, over the grave, and then her getting torn apart by zombies. So, super neat.
It was fun.
I like it. I think it's fun. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. There's just so many crazy scenes in it that you could like write down about it, that you could laugh at or with, or just enjoy. I don't know. I'm a creature feature guy. I always have been. Sometimes even the dumber they look and just more creative they are, like I really just appreciate it. Nowadays that stuff doesn't fly with a lot of the younger crowd.
Right.
I totally get it.
Right.
But I look at it as like how I used to draw in my school books and stuff, and draw little weird creatures and stuff that I thought were cool. Kind of like that. But we do have another movie from fucking New York.
Oh, God. I thought we were done.
No, we're not done yet, baby. So we got another movie we're going to be talking about called Flesh Eating Mothers from
1988.
All right.
A sexually transmitted virus causes an outbreak of cannibalism among the adulterous housewives of suburban Baltimore.
Why is it Baltimore, too?
I don't know.
It was made in New York.
Did they even mention where it was in the movie? I don't remember.
I don't think so. And I thought it was in New York because, like, the accents kind of give it away a little bit.
I don't know. Well, it's still close.
Yeah.
Tagline for this movie: no additives, no preservatives, no extra coloring, just pure family flavor. And moms love it. Clean down to the bone.
Wow. Sounds like a commercial, really.
The director and the writer of this movie is James Avius Martin. He also wrote a movie called I Was a Teenage Zombie from 1987, the year before. Another writing credit.
Which is a movie that I want to get, but it's actually pretty expensive.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's a popular New York movie.
Oh, is it?
From that time, yeah. It's popular. Because there was I Was a Teenage Werewolf, then they made I Was a Teenage Zombie. It's not the same people, I'm just saying. Right. It's kind of a nod to the 50s.
Right. I kind of figured. Another writing credit is Zev Schlesinger, who also wrote a movie called Playback from 1994. Mm-hmm. Now, most of the actors in this movie, this was their only movie.
That's fine.
But there is Valerie Hubbard, who plays Joyce Shepard, the blonde daughter who was taking her mom to that dinner.
Mm-hmm.
This was her first movie, and she went on to be in Resident Evil Extinction, Hannah Montana the movie, True Blood,
right,
and American Horror Story.
Yeah, and she was on How I Met Your Mother.
Right. Yeah, I think just a couple episodes.
Yeah, but either way, I mean, she did a lot more than anybody else, apparently.
She really did. Also, Allie Neinstein, who played the mother, Mrs. Shepard, she was in The Bride of Frank, Control from 2020 and a movie called Surfing the Web from 2019.
Okay. A couple other people that did stuff, but...
Yeah. And then Robert Lee Oliver played Jeff Nathan. Donatella Hetch played Linda Douglas. Neil Rosen played Rinaldi Vivaldo. Terry Haynes played Timmy Nolan. And there's a lot of characters.
Yeah, that's
in this
fine.
movie.
That's fine.
Like, there's a lot of characters. Didn't find a budget for this movie, did you?
Supposedly they started out with about 10,000.
Oh, wow.
But I'm sure it probably went up a little bit more. So it could have been around between 10 and 20.
So I'm assuming there was a lot of family and friend favors.
Yeah, there wasn't that many producers on the movie. The director also was a producer, but he also had another guy who was executive producer named Peter Illich. So he was like the main producer on it. But yeah, they weren't rich people. You know?
Right. Well, yeah. They were just doing it for the art.
Right. Well, they were all technically college students in Brooklyn. Most all of them. Everybody that worked on it together.
Oh, wow.
So...
Was it your first time seeing this movie?
It was, but what did you think?
Oh, yeah. Well, I liked the concept of the STD turning females into cannibals. I thought that was really creative, and it wasn't just like, hey, it's just zombies, you know? I thought it was really cool.
It's always the men's fault.
Well, it is. Well, that's just truth. The dialogue was hilarious, and it was so bad. It was so bad.
But you got used to it, though.
Oh yeah, totally. It was worth it. But I was just like, oh my god, what is going on here?
Yeah, there's no way you can there's no awards given in this movie,
right?
Other than the witty dialogue at times. That's really funny.
I did really like how they did the makeup or the special effects.
Okay, yeah.
And especially because they kept, as the movie kept going on, the mothers. Like they kept looking more and more like sinister.
Sure.
And also I thought
more cracky.
Right. Towards the end, they some of the moms they were looking like Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah.
A lot of the people said that they, like the producer thought it was like movie quality effects.
Yeah,
like he thought it was like more than they deserved.
But I'm really excited. There was a lot of gore in this movie. I think it kind of made up for watching Spookies.
Mm-hmm.
So the story was okay. I liked it. There was a lot of characters, but I mean it flowed well. It wasn't, it was a little all over the place, but I thought it was good where they took the teenage kids, they added the teenage kids to it. And of course, the mothers eating their children, the babies, like there was 3 or 4 like toddlers eating.
Yeah.
Like it was fucking awesome.
Yeah. There is a lot of gore in it. As silly as it is, it's still gore.
Yeah. It was awesome. But I mean, I gave it a 7 out of 10.
Right.
Yeah. It was good.
And something about that gore that we forgot to mention, that Carl Sorensen did the special effects and makeup.
What else has he done?
He's worked on special effects in Child's Play, Tremors, Nightmare on Elm Street 4. He did some stuff for the Salem's Lot, a return to Salem's Lot, I should say, and Robot Holocaust, amongst many other things. So he actually, he had quite a bit of talent there for what he did. So
yeah, totally.
But as far as me and what I thought, this was something else, man. Like, we were almost not ready to watch this because we watched both of these movies back to back on Tuesday night. And it was surprising because Christina was the one that was actually like sticking around for it. But yeah, she was like not really having and watching another movie, but she didn't want to disappoint me because she knew that if we got it done early, then I would have more time to do other stuff. So we managed to stay awake, and she actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I was surprised. You gave the other movie a 6.
Yeah.
And this one a 7. Yeah. And this one's actually worse acting than the other one, I think.
Yeah, it was.
But it was more entertaining to you.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So dialogue, obviously, in this movie is some of the best dialogue I've ever seen in a film. And the writers were totally in on it. Like, seriously, they fucking know. They fucking know. All right. But there is a scene where the dialogue tries to say the word mother like 100 times in like 2 minutes, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Right.
We went back and watched that scene, I think 3 or 4 times.
Right.
Because I liked it so much.
Right.
And I'm going to play that clip for you guys later this week. So you might want to stay tuned to the interwebs or social meds. But anyway, at first, I was a little worried about this movie from the last one. There's like a definite change in the quality in these films. Like this one is like, hey, let's get fucking Ronaldo on this shit, make a fucking movie, am I right? Yeah, you do. You too, motherfucker. You fucking wackadoo. Yeah, forget about it. Like, you know. Nah, but it is made by a bunch of college students, so you can tell.
Right.
But I kid because I come from the East Coast in Maryland and had family up north, so I knew the lingo. But seriously, the dialogue is bad good, like good bad. It will make you laugh and cringe at the same time, but you're going to laugh, and that's the point. But enough about the fucking dialogue already, eh?
Oh, enough with the accent,
Oh,
eh?
fuck you. Shut the fuck up. Shut your cock holster.
Cock holster?
Sorry, it's the character. The character said it. I didn't say it.
A cock holster?
Yeah.
What?
You better shut your fucking
What is
mouth
that?
before I fuck start your head.
What? What?
That's actually a fucking In the Way of the Gun. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
He's like, you better shut your fucking bitch up before I fuck start her head.
Jesus Christ.
And it's Sarah Silverman who he's yelling at. He's like, I know she's got a big mouth, but she's serious. I'll fucking break the shit out of Anyway, this movie is fully aware how silly it is, really. The flesh-eating mothers. There's blood, monster effects, makeup, catchy songs, a little bit of homemade gore. Shit, they even have that animatronic shit, you know, like cannibal mom heads in this motherfucker. You know, like it takes a little while to get into the movie and its tone, I'll admit, but once you do, you'll have a good time. There's nothing amazing about it, but it's pretty amazing that they made this on a small budget. You know, where most kids in college were just making shorts. These guys said, let's make a fucking feature. And they made it happen. So that's pretty cool. I'd definitely watch this one again. It's like a 6.5 or a 7. I'd say 7 to me on the S-Big scale. You can't take it seriously and you can't stop laughing at it either. Just enjoy all the bad jokes and have some fun with your friends while drinking and eating pizza. You know, am I right?
You're right. Yes.
Am I right or am I right? It is one of those movies, though, that you just kick back. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the Trauma days, like the early Trauma days, where it was just like silly fun.
Redneck zombies.
But they took it seriously, though. You know, like I love Trauma and everything like that, but I tend to rotate towards like the older like Trauma days more than I do some of the newer stuff, which I'm guilty. You know, I'm guilty of not watching a lot of the newer stuff.
Right.
But I just haven't been moved by it. I just like that kind of, I love that, the 80s, the early stuff a little bit more.
Right.
So, but there is stuff I need to check out, and I might even do that new thing. But I think it's very similar. If you guys like some of the early days of Trauma, I think you could appreciate this one. Or if you like early New York horror, you can appreciate this one too. So, but yeah. So you gave it a 7 and I gave it a 7. So
it's a 7.
It's a 7.1. No, I'm kidding. You get all mad.
Kill you.
But yeah, guys, you can watch this on Prime. It is up on Prime, and I think you can even rent it other places if you need to. But yeah, if you have Prime, you can watch it on there. It is a little hard to find. Just type in Flesh-Eating Mothers. It should be pretty quick. I was like looking through all the movies that are in horror, and it popped up in my suggested feed, by the way.
Oh.
So I was like, oh shit, look, there it is. But I own it now, and I'm proud to own both of these movies. So, but yeah, check it out, guys. See what you think. If you don't want anything spoiled, we're going to jump into our trivia and spoilers now. So here is your warning. So you mentioned already that it was produced, directed, and edited.
Oh, and edited.
Yes. And written by James Martin.
Oh, okay.
He did a lot. Some of the extra features, like, I feel like, if I'm being honest, I think this movie's better than I think he realizes.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think the circumstances that happened to get this movie out there kind of burned him out. I get that vibe because I am one of those people
Right.
with music.
Right.
I got burned out. I got used. I got manipulated.
Right. Yes, she did.
And it really kind of destroyed creativity. If you want to talk about a way to destroy creativity, start fucking stealing from people who put their whole life into something.
Right. Right. And
But
take
anyway,
advantage.
Yeah,
Other
but
people take
I
advantage.
digress. I mean, obviously he's dealt with that. Things have changed a little bit for him, but he did talk about some of his memories on it. Like I mentioned before, everyone that worked on this film were students of Brooklyn art thing, so they did all work at that, and it's a pretty good achievement for somebody who's just doing college stuff. He said that AIDS was big in the headlines in the day, so that had some of the influence for why this became
and that's what STD and okay.
Right, because they were having sex, sexually transmitted disease.
Right.
So nobody really thought about that much back then until it fucking popped off, which was like a year before that it popped off, like getting crazy. So, and that was confirmed by Peter Illich, who is the head producer. So, but he said most of the time that they worked on the film, they only had enough film for one take, no more than 3.
Oh, wow.
Which made it super challenging for them. He said that at some point you have to settle, even though you should strive for high expectations always. He's like, but that's art. You'll just have to settle with things sometimes and let it go. Sometimes you got to kill your darlings because you can't do them. Sometimes you just got to deal with a lot.
Right.
He also was very adamant about saying that he didn't feel like this movie needed to have any sex scenes. And apparently a lot of people gave him shit for not having any.
Really?
At the time, yeah. It does dabble in it because it's a sexually transmitted disease, but he didn't want the focus to be about sex and all this other shit. Plus, they're fucking college kids. I'm sure they could have gotten somebody if they wanted to.
Right.
And some people love sex in horror movies. I'm like cool with either or.
Whatever,
I don't really care. Like sometimes it's like overdoes too much.
Right.
I'm like, okay, we get it. Like we don't,
Yeah, okay, you're having sex.
Like fucking Antichrist had a fucking full on fucking plow scene where they fucking used a cock and everything. Like, which, with that movie you kind of expect it. But with this one, it's like a silly movie. It's a PG movie.
Right.
It's rated R, but it feels like a PG movie in the silliness factor. The director also said that he's moved on from horror and filmmaking, and he enjoys doing art now. That's not to say that he wouldn't write again if the opportunity arose. He's just content where he is.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So that's where I kind of related to him a lot.
Right.
But if he listens to this, I think you did a great job, man.
Yeah,
I think this movie's a lot of fun, and I think this is way better than I was expecting it to be. Mm-hmm. So just because some of the writing is so funny.
Yeah, it is funny.
So, and he wrote it. Mm-hmm. So the main producer, Peter Illich, said that they filmed in James Martin's house, so the director's house, and that they stayed there for several weeks while they were filming to do a lot of the scenes that they did. So I thought that was pretty cool, homemade. Mm-hmm. So he also said that the European audience liked the movie more than the American audience did. They were raving about it in France for some reason.
Because they're more humbled and they appreciate things more.
I don't know if it's that or not, but he didn't say either. But pretty interesting that the European audience liked it a little bit more. So Peter, the main producer, also said that they had a lot of bad times with getting distribution, and that the people that they were trying to sign with were trying to give them advances for the movie that were paid back in full.
Ooh.
So they were like, yeah, he was like, yeah, it's an advance, but it's paid back in full, and he was like, I'm going to sue you
right.
if you don't give me the money that you said you were going to sign a contract with. Like, we signed a contract. So they had a lot of problems with it, and it cost them more money because they had to use so many attorneys to do it, and that the attorneys pretty much swallowed up all of the profits.
Right.
So that would be enough to drive somebody crazy.
Right.
Like I said, if you want to talk about killing off someone's inspiration to create, there you go.
Take advantage.
Yeah, fucking dildos who are just, that's what a lot of fucking places do nowadays. They
really do. They see the money, so they're, how can I get to that money?
A lot of people who are making the most money are, some people who are in the big fame need somebody to manage them, so they hire somebody to manage all of this shit. But there's a lot of people who are creators, producers, directors, editors, writers, whatever it is. If it's music, they do the business end, they do the social media end, they do everything. And that's kind of where it's going. And a lot of people are still trying to struggle to bite off some of that talent And, you know, it's kind of the dynamic has changed now a little bit.
Totally.
But distribution is still important.
Right.
But social media has also changed that too. So
Right.
you just don't know.
Right.
But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I have for it. As far as the, you know, trivia goes. But we do have some scenes that we want to talk about that we thought were pretty funny. One right off the bat is the dude is in the woods that's hunting or something, and he's looking around to his right, and he looks over to his left, and he realizes his arm is missing.
He's like, oh, where did my arm go?
And it's spurting blood, and he screams. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, wouldn't you want to scream like while your arm is being removed from your body? Like,
and then you see some woman and he shoots her.
yeah.
It was a really short scene too. It's like 30 seconds.
Right. Which it made no sense then, but I think they did tie it in. I think they did that well.
Right. And that's when the theme song comes in, the one that's in the DVD menu, where it's like
the original.
Something in suburbia, not kids in America. Whoa. Nothing like that. Talking about like how the grass is green and the people are nice in suburbia, and it's like really silly.
Yeah. So happy and shit.
Yeah, it's really happy.
I'm gonna eat your soul. I'm gonna eat your child today.
Well, it's like xylophones and like happy shit. Like, but then we get shown this guy that he's cheating on his wife with some other like mother, and sneaks out
like a neighbor.
Right, and there's some weird cuts in here, by the way, story-wise, and this is why I was having a little bit of a trouble with it in the beginning, is because then they show Rinaldi, which we didn't know his name or anything about him, other than he was just some random kid in his attic or in his room. He's grounded and listening to cool music and smoking in his room. They don't really explain that. They just kind of hop away to it.
Yeah, and then I didn't know if he was in that house with
the same people.
Yeah, that's
right.
what I thought.
Yeah, I thought that was his mom.
Yeah, I did too.
But it wasn't.
No, it was somebody completely different.
At least I don't know. Maybe it was and we didn't realize. I don't know.
Well, no, because then they cut to the scene where the guy was leaving the house and the teenager was watching.
Yeah, because
right?
there's the cop that shows up and drops off a check to another house.
Right. Yeah. And I thought that he was the child that... Yeah, that was a little bit confusing.
Yeah, because there's like the next scene is the cop dropping off a child support check to the mom, and it's a different mom.
Yeah.
So it's just like we're getting blasted in the face with all these different characters, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
Now, I do have to mention that cheating dad, he had a Hands Across America t-shirt on.
Right.
So I instantly thought of us.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well, that was a big thing right back then, yeah. Also, the guy from the beginning who lost his arm or didn't know he had no arm. He's a commissioner. This is like in the future, I guess. One of the coroners, or it's the cop, tells the story that they said that commissioner, the guy who lost his arm, was attacked by a bear and accidentally shot his wife. But he said that there was no bear tracks around, so he didn't understand.
Right.
And that's like the conspiracy.
Ooh, conspiracy.
Conspiracy.
Ooh.
But meanwhile, we get introduced to a bunch of greasy, unsavory men in the neighborhood, which seems to be a theme in this movie. Let's make all the dudes look like pieces of shit. They really are.
Right. Oh,
like,
yeah. All
it's almost like it's justifying why the mothers become cannibals. One guy beats his wife when he's drunk. Another is like sleeping with every mother in town, and everyone wants to fuck. Which I guess maybe that's why everybody was getting all juiced up for fucking sex scenes and they didn't get it. So that's why he was like, look, I'm sorry. That's what he said in the thing. He was like, look, I'm sorry there's no sex scenes. I just didn't think it needed it.
Right. That's funny.
Lois, the cop's ex-wife, pays child support that he's paying child support to, is eating food all gross. She's like the noises are so disgusting. And Billy comes home and she apparently eats him because the cop walks in while she's eating his arm with a baseball mitt on his hand. He shoots her in the head for one of the most bizarre looking headshots I've ever seen in a movie, where she crosses her eyes and makes a funny face and blood starts squirting.
Out of her head.
Yeah.
That doesn't help.
It's so silly. Then you see the guy who's sleeping around see the abusive husband throw down the mom, and he moves in for a little action in her time of need. Creepy.
Totally.
The guy who's sleeping around's wife looks at her 2-year-old kid like it's a nice snack and starts eating it.
That's 2.
That was the one that was in the, he was like 4 years old. Yeah. But they tried to make him seem like he was like a year and a half old in a baby crib. Cause he was all like mangled up in the bed that he was in when she's eating it. And then the daughter walks in on her mom eating her brother, her little baby brother, when she's eating him in the crib. And she's like, Mom, what the fuck? And she runs and she doesn't know what she's doing.
Yeah,
then
she just leaves. It's like, wouldn't you want to call the cops or something?
I would think, yeah, like, but I guess she's just so upset that she doesn't know what to do and then sort of just forgets about it. Which I love. It's so funny. But she sees her dad outside of a bar hooking up with another mom. And she's like, what the fuck? And then she runs into her friend, this guy friend who was in the beginning of the movie that she ran into or something. He is the son of the mom's whose dad is abusive. And he tells her his story about how his dad's abusive and that he wants to like run away because his mom won't leave him.
Right.
And he's like, I'm not going to let her drag me down. I'm going to run away while they smoke pot. And she's telling him about how she saw her dad kissing another woman. This is the first thing she tells him.
That, not her mom, it just ate her brother.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah, I saw my dad, well, for starters, I saw my dad kissing another woman. And then that she saw her mom eating her baby brother, and she starts laughing.
That was funny. It looked like they both started laughing.
I think those were genuine laughs because I was cracking up.
Yeah.
Like, cause
they seem like it.
Cause they're high, I guess. So they thought maybe they would laugh about it if they were high.
They probably were really high too. They probably were really laughing, and they could only do one take, right?
Nah, maybe.
They could probably only do one take. So he was just like, fuck it, we'll just keep it in.
She does get serious. She's like, no, seriously though, like, I'm not joking. And he's like, yeah, whatever. It starts laughing some more. And then she's like, no, seriously, she was eating my fucking brother. And then he's like, oh. He's like, well, do you want to run away with me?
They're like, oh yeah, okay.
Let's meet at the basketball court at 8 o'clock tonight.
20 minutes, yeah.
It was like 30 minutes and it was like 8 o'clock or something. And it was like bright as, like, it was like noon in the movie.
Right.
Next is the cool kid who smokes in his room, and his mom are having this back and forth all the time, yelling at each other. And she's all of a sudden just being really nice to him and invites him down for some
mashed potatoes.
And she's like, I put extra milk in it. Like, this whole milk thing, which we probably should have done something with milk in it.
It's okay.
Yeah.
But I thought that conversation about the veal. Yeah. Because she was like, do you know what veal is? Do you like?
She's like, it's a baby calf or some shit. I don't fucking know. She's like, yeah, but they feed the baby fucking veal. They feed the baby calf milk to make the meat tender. Hey, do you need a glass of milk?
Here, drink some more milk.
Yeah.
No, here, have some more.
And he's like, yeah, I'm good. Fucking stop feeding me fucking milk. And then you see her like bite the top of his head, but he pushes her away.
What the fuck?
He's all bleeding. He's saying, that's it, Mom. I'm running away this time. She just tried to eat you, dog.
Yeah.
Also, so we saw that the guy who's like home wrecking everybody and sleeping with all the moms, he went to the abused woman's house and apparently had sex with her after that whole situation.
Right.
And the abused mom is now having an argument with her abusive husband, and he's like, I'll break your fucking mouth. And he swings at her and she catches his hand and then eats it.
That was awesome.
But it was like this animatronic mouth that opens up like super slow, by the way. and it just sticks his fucking fake hand in her mouth and then tries to rip it off.
We watched that scene a couple times.
Yeah, that's one of the trailer sellers right there. That's a trailer seller scene right there.
Totally.
Because it looks fucking creepy.
Yeah.
You hear like cracking in her hand and like he's all smiling and her mouth opens up and it eats the fist. It's like, it's obviously a fake head, but it just looks so fucking cool. Now, this is the scene that really fucking got me going, is when they all meet up at the basketball court.
Oh.
And the cool kid, I got to tell this story. I know I've been talking a lot, guys, but just hear me out, okay? So the cool kid, the abusive dad's kid, bump into each other at the basketball court with the girl who had her baby brother eaten and saw her dad kissed. Mm-hmm. He's like, what happened to your head, man? He's like, my mother's on the fucking rag again. The other guy's like, what's going on around here lately, man? And Rinaldi's like, the cool kid, he's like, I don't blame her, man. Really, it's society's fault.
Such a weird...
It is a really weird thing to say. He's like, it's not just your mother, though. When Linda came home, she saw her mother eating her baby brother. And then another guy, Timmy, shows up. He's like, hey... My mom just tried to eat my mom just ate my baby brother. And she's like, my mom tried to eat my baby brother. Dude, it's so bad, but it's so good, man.
So good. And they kept saying mother. Like, who calls their mom mother? You know?
They all tell the story. Like, they keep telling each other like they've never told each other. And it's like, he's like, and then the Timmy guy's like, she's never done anything like this before. And they're like, well, we're running away. Do you want to come with us or something like that? And he's like, no, we got to do something about this or something. And then runs off to go stop. Oh my God, dude. I'm like crying.
You're crying.
I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard because that dialogue was so great. That's when the coroner finds out that some of the bodies that are showing up, that there's a virus, because he shot that one woman in the head. He shot his ex-wife in the head. Uh-huh. And they did a report on it, and the coroner finds like a virus on her in her body. So, and then the commissioner like shows up and steals the paperwork and all this. And that's when they got this whole conspiracy thing about him trying to cover it up or whatever. There's no real reason why.
Right.
And then they go to some like fucking ladies social at a fucking event. And that's when like the cannibal moms all start attacking everybody. And the whole room panics. And like Joyce brings her ice cream dude boy love. And he's like
right.
super fucky, you know. Hey, you want an ice cream cone, baby? And he's like, oh, fuck this shit. I'm out of here. And she's like, mother, how could you? She's like eating somebody. Didn't he like try to attack one of the moms like with a chain and a bat or something? Then she chews through the chains.
Yeah. He like threw it and then she just like
it went over her mouth.
Yeah, and she's
she just chews in half. Then Frankie, who's the ice cream guy, Rinaldi and Joyce are at the school and they get into it with a mom. Rinaldi's like, my mom always told me never to hit a lady, but she didn't say shit about a cannibal. And fucking
bam,
decks her.
That was silly.
And then Frankie gets his hairy leg all chomped on. You remember that? It looked really fake, but it was funny.
Right.
That's when they all meet up again at the basketball court. That's where they all hang, I guess. And Timmy runs off in a blood rage to murder moms. Because they're like, well, what if we can like solve the problem and like there's a vaccine or something that we could, you know, bring them back. And, you know, they don't know what they're doing. And Timmy's like, fuck that shit. I'm going to murder them all.
Timmy got into a dark blood rage.
Didn't they end up going to like an STD lab or doctor's
office
because
like
something to get a vaccine?
The coroner is like this short guy, and then there's the assistant who works for the doctor, who they earlier on met because he was like hooking up with hookers, and the guy who is hooking up with all the moms goes in there and gets tested, and they found a virus in his report. The assistant did, but he doesn't want to hear it. So the coroner and the assistant team up to solve the virus and like come up with a vaccine or a cure or whatever. And then the commissioner's all trying to like kill the cop, but he's eaten by a pack of moms with like really shitty makeup. I'm just kidding.
With the Joker makeup.
Yeah.
This is about.
I wouldn't say shitty, but it's just silly looking.
I thought it looked good.
I know.
I liked it. It fit the narrative.
She had like long black teeth and they like rip open his arm and bite onto it. And little Timmy, who's only about 45, sees this happen before his eyes, so it's like really shocking. Why does everybody in the 80s always look like they're fucking old as fuck? You know what I mean?
The 70s and the 80s. It's like it's like it's gotten younger. Like
I think it's because of all the like steroids in our food and milk and shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It always weirds me out because you like look at these people and you're like, that doesn't look like 18 to me.
I know. Well, once it used to be once you hit 25, like you were old until you were like 80.
Right.
So you're like grandpa.
The one of the funny things I also liked is that when they go back to the fucking coroner's office, aka the high school gym locker room, because it totally is.
Oh, totally.
They discover a cure, and you can tell it's a cure because the cartoon that they show of him looking through the microscope is cells attacking this little virus and killing it.
And the virus has eyes and teeth.
Yes, they all have eyes and teeth.
I thought that was cute.
I mean, it's better than nothing, that's for
Right.
sure.
Well, I mean, it's better than reality too.
It's just it just made me laugh.
boring.
I'm like, really, dude? So they get like syringes and try to go out and hunt the moms down. And the moms are like, it's weird because the moms in the movie are like discussing things like, I always go over to Becky's on barbecues and da-da-da-da-da as they're eating people.
Yeah, they were just normal,
Yeah.
having normal Real Housewives conversations.
One of them's like, oh, I think I left the iron on, but we should go get that. God damn it, I hate when I leave the iron on after they just ate somebody. And they're like, yeah, but let's eat first. And she's like, yeah, good idea.
And didn't a cat pop up? And they ended
Oh my God, yes, they rip a cat apart.
Yeah, they grabbed the cat and they both ripped it and it ripped the cat right in half.
Yeah, dude, and that
my
was a really
God.
fun thing.
That was.
There was like a really fun montage too while they were like kind of injecting all the moms.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a montage of it, and this song comes on talking about eat more meat and shit like that.
It was funny.
There's like a scene where the commissioner tries to kill all the moms, but the moms attack him, and then they start screeching like big pig noises or something like that and paw at him. And then the moms corner him and he confesses it all in front of all the cops. And then the moms start changing back to their normal selves and they're all hugging the kids, which is so ridiculous how fast it happens. It's like, never mind that they just ate a bunch of people, including their children. I ate your little brother. I know. I love you too, Mom.
Yeah, that was weird. It's like,
I
but
think
where's Timmy? Where's Timmy? Oh, you ate him. Don't you remember? Oh, oopsie.
They do a jump in the air and freeze frame, you know?
The end.
Yeah, at the end. Then you see like the dad who spread it around in bed with the same lady that he cheated on his wife with in the very first scene or whatever, talking about open marriages, and she comes around and rips his nose and face off, which is fucking awesome, dude.
Right.
Like that was the coolest kill in the fucking movie. Like he rips his nose off and part of his eye socket and everything.
Yeah, it was cool.
Ah, that was the best for last, I guess.
Yeah, best ending. It's a good ending.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked that movie. I thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It's my new Mother's Day movie.
Yeah, huh?
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Suburbia. Whatever the fucking song. I can't think of it now. Heard it on the fucking menu while I was taking notes for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, because you wouldn't mute it. It's like, Jesus Christ.
I just love that song. But yeah, so you would say that this, I don't know, like, you know, I think both of them are good in their own way, and they're both different for
Right.
like I like both of these movies for two different reasons. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I like this one because it's gory and it's funny.
Right.
I like the other one because it's stupid and creatures.
Right.
You know what I mean? So comparing them, you know, they're
Yeah.
really kind of close anyway when it comes to the so bad it's good. But I think that this one could, for more people than me, probably win for most people just because of how crazy the dialogue is. I think that really adds to it, you know?
Totally.
But the creatures, oh man, they're so fucking schlocky fun, man.
Right.
And it is worth a laugh. So I don't know. I recommend both of them. I mean, they're pretty much the same score, so you might as well check them out if you can. Vinegar Syndrome has them if you want to pick them up there. If you at least want to watch Flesh Eating Mothers, you can check it out on Prime. And I think you might be able to watch Spookies like on YouTube or something like that, but I'm not 100% sure. So, but I honestly think they're worth owning, and I'm really glad that I picked these two up.
Right.
So, but yeah, guys, that's it for this week.
Do you know what we're going to do next week?
Oh, fuck.
Is it the vampires or?
I was thinking about doing more 2000s movies again.
Oh, and good. Yes.
There's a movie called The Bone Snatcher and In the Cave.
Okay, let's do it.
They're like creature feature movies.
Yes, please.
You want to watch those?
Yes, I do.
One of them we're going to have to rent.
That's fine.
But yeah, I don't. The Bone Snatcher is from 2003, and I think it's on Prime right now. So if you guys want to watch that, you can. And then the other one, The Cave, you have to rent. It's from 2005. And these are kind of like action adventure horror in a way, but they've got creatures in it. So I thought it would be fun to do. I love creatures. So
I am into anything that's not 80s right now.
Yeah. So 2003, 2005, you know, we got, The Cave is PG-13, but the creatures are kind of make up for it a little bit. The Bone Snatcher is R. So we'll at least have one movie with some goodies in it, but it's got some pretty cool creature effects in that one as well. So I thought it'd be fun to watch them. I've never watched them before. At least I don't think I have, unless I caught it on like HBO or Cinemax or something. But yeah.
All right.
But yeah, guys. So next week we'll check those out. If something changes, we'll let you know because sometimes stuff does pop up. But also don't forget, we always do reviews and, video hauls and other stuff on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't followed that already, you really should.
And you stream.
And I stream on Twitch. So we play video games, talk about horror, usually play just video games, like all kinds of stuff. Like sometimes we do horror, but I've burned myself out on horror a lot on horror games because they don't really change very much.
Right.
Some of them do, but I'm kind of hankering for like a RPG horror game and they don't have very many. So... But yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming by this week. I would love to hear what you guys think about either of these movies. So if you've seen them, if you have not, if we interested you, if we did not, let us know in the comment section of any of our stuff below. And if you know somebody that enjoys this kind of material and this kind of fun, please share it with them and let them know about us because it goes a long way to helping us stay around. So, but other than that, guys, thank you so much for coming by this week. And as always,
long live the void.